On this Charge Overland adventure, I spend the weekend camping at an amazing desert canyon near Joshua Tree. I meet a couple new friends with some really cool trucks. We cook up a few great meals and spend time exploring, relaxing, and soaking up some warm desert weather. I also test out a new range-saving setting on my Rivian. Stay tuned.
All right, it's Friday. I am on my way to a weekend of camping with some friends. I actually don't know much about the location I'm going to be at this weekend. As of right now, I just have some GPS coordinates, and that's all I have to go off of. So kind of cool. I didn't plan this trip. Just joining a few other friends who have planned it. So be interesting to get to a new spot. Making my way through traffic right now. Going to top off on Charge in Indio, California, which is near Palm Springs. And from there, meet up with this group a little bit later tonight.
After a stop to charge and grab some groceries for the weekend, I was on my way for the last portion of the drive. I saw this sign as I entered the trail on the way to the campsite and was hoping for some off-roading. It just ended up being a bumpy dirt road, but when I got to the campsite, I realized we were in a really awesome location. We all spent some relaxing time around the fire. And if you hate spiders, look away now. We found this camel spider right near our camp. I actually didn't know we had these in California. I guess they're not harmful to humans, but still was happy for this thing to stay outside my tent. All right, getting ready for bed. We've got 87% charge. Just a little bit after midnight, and going to use the stay off function in camp mode, and we'll check in the morning to see what the battery drain is. As the sun came up and lit up the canyon around us, it was so cool to see the spot we were in, and I took a minute just to soak up the views from my tent, but I was really interested to see how the camp mode stay off feature worked overnight, because I generally see 3 to 5 miles of battery drain and was hoping this feature would help with that. Just got up. It's 8:18 a.m. and we're at 87% battery, so same as last night, and showing 252 miles, which is
2-mile difference, but the state of charge is the same.
I just recently upgraded my cooking setup to this iKamper Disco series, and I was really stoked to get it out and start cooking with it on this camping trip. There was plenty of room to cook up a dozen scrambled eggs for the group, and I'll touch on a few more details about this setup a little later in the video. The weather was really beautiful on this trip, definitely on the warmer side, but still nice just to get some warm sun. And as the day heated up, we started to see some of the desert wildlife come out at our camp. We had a pretty cool range of trucks at our site. Obviously my Rivian was there. Christian had his Toyota pickup with this hand-built bogie camper on the back. He actually builds these himself, and this truck is really cool. Jonathan had his Tacoma that you've seen in a couple of my other videos. Mike from StanceWorks had his F-250 diesel. This thing is an absolute beast. He has built some amazing vehicles, definitely worth checking out his channel if you haven't already heard of it. And Franklin has a super clean Bronco that he brought with him. Also a shout out to Franklin. That blue Easy Up you see in the right of this video really saved us from the midday sun. After relaxing for most of the morning, we decided it would be fun to get out and explore the canyon that was right next to our campsite. This was a really cool location because there was no one else hiking in this area, and we just took our time to explore and see where the trail would take us.
Big alert on the bugs. Yeah.
Eventually we ended up in a narrow slot canyon, and someone had actually put in a couple ladders in this area. We were expecting it to lead to some epic view or location, but at one point the trail just dead ended. It was still really cool to explore though, and there were plenty of sights to see along the way. Right around sunset, we decided it was time to get a game of Cube in. Now, if you haven't heard of this, it dates back to the Vikings and has recently become kind of popular again. It's a really fun game, and I gotta say, this is probably one of the most scenic places I've ever played it in. So my fiance Christina wasn't able to join on this trip unfortunately, and I was on my own for cooking. Normally not my forte, but I think I did pretty good. Cooked up a meal on the disco with ground beef, peppers, and rice. And Jonathan made some amazing sandwiches. Now I plan on doing a more in-depth review of this disco cooking setup very soon here. There's a lot of different configurations and ways you can cook with it, so look for that in a future video. After another relaxing evening around the fire, it was time for bed. And I quickly wanted to share, I used the gear tunnel door as a little table. This is a great solution if you don't have a camp table set up, just to put your toiletries and get yourself ready for bed.
All right, second night of camping here. Going to do another test with the stay off option in camp mode. It is just after 11 o'clock right now. And I've got 85% battery and 246 miles of range. So we will check this again in the morning. Okay, it is just after 9 a.m. Just turned on the truck. We're at 84% battery. And it's already pretty toasty out this morning.
So this stay off feature definitely helped with battery drain. Not perfect, but it's still something I'm going to continue to use to help save miles when I'm not using the truck. So the temperatures were climbing pretty quickly on this morning, and we all decided it was best to get packed up and start heading home. Now, as always, I want to give you a behind the scenes of the route for this trip as well as the charging stops. I left Irvine on Friday with 82% charge and got to Indio with 50%. Side note, the highway assist is an awesome feature. I honestly didn't think I'd use this as much as I do.
First leg of the trip from Irvine to Indio is done. About 2 hours of driving. It was actually pretty quick, not too bad on traffic today. And I just got to the Electrify America station in Indio. It's a little busy. I have a Ioniq 5 in front of me waiting, and then Nothing available right here, so gonna have to wait for a little bit to get a charger, but not a big deal.
So charging time can change based on a lot of variables, but I want to start including this more often in my behind the scenes info. So for this stop, I was at the charger for 50 minutes, and honestly, this gave me just enough time to get into Walmart, get my groceries for the weekend, and I was ready to go. So from Indio, it was a pretty short drive to the campsite in the Mecca wilderness. And then after a couple nights at camp, I had lost about 3% battery. On our way out, we all stopped at a gas station, and I looked at my charge and realized I wasn't gonna have to stop to charge again on this trip. So that stop in Indio was the only stop I made on this entire trip. So the drive from camp all the way back to my house was 156 miles. Here are the final stats for the trip. Trip A shows the round trip journey from my house, and trip B is from the charging station. Looking at these numbers, I'm pretty sure I could have completed this trip without having to stop and charge at all. That finishes off this adventure. If you haven't already, subscribe and check out some of the other videos on the channel. As always, thanks for watching, everyone.